Good morning, everybody. I want to start somewhere, right? First of all, let me get a feel of who's in the room. Maybe you've been asked this during the day, but let me ask again. So I'll start with, how many of us are back-end engineers? Raise your hand. We're plenty. I'm one of you, by the way. Front-end engineers. Fun. Designers, UX. Okay. Product managers. See all of them. We don't like them. We don't like we don't like the product managers. Oh, I'm just joking. They make our lives wonderful, don't they? All right. So let me introduce myself again. I'm a full stack engineer. I'm a certified cloud architect. I'm an author, published author. I'm a Google developer expert for cloud technologies. I've been doing this for 22 years. So, thank you. So I'm saying this to inspire those of you who are looking to get a career in tech or stay. Staying power is what you need. So please, stay. Okay, today, I want to talk about something interesting, right? Outsourcing knowledge and protecting our reasoning, basically a developer's guide to AI. The first question I'll start with is, or the first notion I'll start with is the use of AI making us dumber? Yeah? Yes or no? You say it depends. How many of us agree? Yeah? So this is not an anti-AI talk. This is not about don't use AI. Basically, what I want to try and share today is a framework for allowing us to use AI while still protecting what? Our reasoning, right? To make us better, make us smarter, and not weaker. So let me pose a situation. 5 years ago, 2020, you wake up in the morning, you open your ID, you get your coffee or your tea or whatever it is you are into to get started with coding or solving a problem. And you run into a problem. Back then, what did we used to do? Stack Overflow, right? I'm one of those people. You go to Stack Overflow, you look at the question, you look at the answer, you look at the reply to the answer, you look at the sub-comments, you look at everything, right? Then you Google randomly because you might go to blogs, you might go to people's personal blogs to see if someone has written something about that thing. You look through documentation, right? And then you make and draw inferences to solve this problem. Yes? That's what we used to do. But today, with Google Gemini, in 2 minutes, you have the answer to your problem. No? Right? Am I the only one? Exactly. So, back in the day, you do all the work, you find information, you make inferences, but today, you just use one of the AI agents. So the question is, which one of the developers is learning more? 2020, right? All right, so let's be honest. I'll ask a question. How often have any of us in this room copied code without really understanding it? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Raise your hands. Yeah? All of us. Is there anybody who has never done it that didn't understand the code? I want to see their unicorn, that special human being. So all of us. So the truth is, I even personally had an experience 3-4 months ago where I actually wanted to generate types for a product or feature I was building. And I just used ChatGPT, and I said, let's get this thing out. And it printed like 125 lines of code. Honestly, I did not understand it. I just copied and pasted, and I shipped it to production. Me? Yes. With my full chest, I did. I should actually go back and check that piece of code. But the point I'm making, this is me with 22 years of experience, and I still copied and pasted, and I moved on because it worked. But I didn't really understand what the code was saying. So I'll pause here and say this. My presentation is in 2 halves. One is about how we outsource knowledge to AI. But then the second half, we'll talk about strategies we can use to protect our reasoning while using AI, right? So the first notion here is that AI knows everything. Its superpower is that it has copious amounts of knowledge, right? It has so much data. It has Python documentation, React documentation, PHP documentation, Go documentation, whatever documentation you're looking for, you most likely will be able to find it with one or more AI agents. It has a perfect memory, does not forget things, right? Once it's been taught something, it knows that thing. Once you ask it, it will give it to you, right? So if you ever want to feel like you have access to the entire programming universe at your fingertips, an AI agent is what you have access to. Now, that's the good side. The other part of it is that AI also has expiration dates. Some of these models, we all know how models are trained, right? They're trained up until a certain point or a certain cutoff. That's why you can ask, if you ask, Gemini 1 Pro, the model that was built, one of the first models that was built, if it knows anything about what happened last year, it will tell you, sorry. Remember, you know that message, sorry, I don't have any information. Yes, those are the cutoff dates because the training data is cut off at when that model is made. Sometimes it will only show you examples regarding React code, for example, from React 18 and React 19 is out, right? It may suggest deprecated NPM packages if you are asking it for examples on how to do something, or even showing you patterns on things that are quite stale. So even though it's a repository of knowledge, it can still get frozen in time with the data that it has, yes? We've all experienced this, I believe. So here is one part that I would say that would help you to keep your AI fresh, okay? Even if you don't have the newest model, even if you're using Gemini 2, right, instead of Gemini 3, which was just released. Look at these 3 prompts. First one, how do I implement authentication in React? That's when it will spit out what it has been trained with. Now, a better prompt would be using React 18. So you've given it a context to say, hey, use React 18 specifically. And now it will maybe use React 19 or use React 17 or whatever it is, or Next.js, whatever it is, 15, 14, 16. How do I implement authentication? And the best prompt here is check the latest XYZ documentation and what is the current authentication implementation pattern. So these are things you can infuse in your prompts to keep your knowledge base fresh, coming from AI. Remember, outsource knowledge and protect reason. So we're in the outsource knowledge part of things. Another way you can keep that going is by using MCP servers. How many of us have heard of MCP servers? Good number of us. Good. So MCP servers are a way to give context, actual implementation steps, access to your database, access to external APIs to your AI models. I recently just implemented one that would allow an AI agent implement a new startup project for me, including authentication with Next.js and Better Auth and Better Auth UI in a pattern and a way that I consistently want it. The AI agent was able to do it consistently the same way because I implemented an MCP server. And that's something you can take advantage of to keep your knowledge fresh, but also to keep the AI models consistent. Now, the final part of this first half is, I would say, think of AI as a junior developer, okay? Think of AI as a junior developer that has a lot of knowledge. For those of you who are senior in the room, when a junior developer writes code, what do? You review the code, right? You review it thoroughly because of 2 things. 1, make sure there are no mistakes. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure he's using the right architectural pattern. Make sure he's using the right context. Make sure he's doing the right things in your company, in your code base, and so on and so forth. So they are writing code, but they're not writing code that might be according to your code base's standards, right? That's what junior devs usually typically do. And there's no dig at junior devs. Everybody's still going to grow. I was once a junior dev, so this happens. But you have to coach them. You have to give them, feedback. You have to do PR reviews and give comments and so on and so forth. So if you are able to think of your AI model as a junior developer with perfect strength, current info if you implement FTP servers, and a vast knowledge base. You would only have to do the extra that it is limited by, which is no business context, exactly what I was saying, right? Poor judgment calls because it doesn't know, for example, that it needs to call this API before it calls this API, because that's part of how your infrastructure, for example, is set up. These are all things as your senior engineer in your environment knows that the AI agent doesn't know. You have to consistently treat it that way. This is my advice to you, right? Now that we've said that, let's move to the second half of it, which is like protecting what? Our reasoning. Okay. Because anyone can basically Google anything and anyone can find information with AI. Here's certain habits I would encourage you to start doing from today. Try to think through complex problems yourself. Okay? Try to make architectural decisions yourself. Try and attempt to debug those issues yourself first. Now, I know PMs will not like what I'm saying, but this is not for the PMs. This is for the engineers. Yes? Try to connect business needs to technical solutions. In these processes where you are trying, you're using what? You're protecting your reasoning because you're using it. You're not farming it out to AI. Now, don't get me wrong. As I would show, there are times when it's okay to farm it out. And I'll talk about those scenarios. But I'm saying in your typical everyday use cases, if you find yourselves with these opportunities, try to see if you can do it yourself first. And if you struggle and you can't, and there's nobody who's more senior to help you, then yes, of course, the AI agent can help you. Because what's important is that just like physical fitness, cognitive skills require what? Practice. If there's an elevator in your building and you consistently use the elevator, you'll be not practicing your legs. And the same vein, if you consistently farm out the thinking to AI, you're not practicing your what? Your reasoning skills, your cognitive skills. It's important that when you find opportunities for you to be able to do that, you try to take advantage. Remember the first thing I said, is AI making us dumber? It is at these inflection points that these happen. So, use it or lose it. Use it or you lose it. So here is a good framework for how to think about those inflection points. Before using AI, ask yourself, do I need information? Remember, I talked about AI having copious amounts of data. So information is not the problem. It may be stale, but at least it has information. Yes? Good. So the question you should ask yourself is, do you need information or do you need to think? Will doing this make myself a better developer? Which means if the task in question, before you farm it out to AI, if I do it myself, will I become a better engineer? If the answer is no, then farm it out to AI. How do I mean? A good example. If you've implemented something before, plenty times, right, over and over and over again, and doing it again is not going to teach you anything new. So at this point, it's just about automating boring tasks because it's something you know how to do. By all means, please let the AI do what it is meant to do. Farm it out to it. But if you have an opportunity to learn from that process, then take a stab at it first, because that's where you're protecting your reasoning. And more importantly, can I explain this thing to another person? Like that code that I cannot explain to somebody. If you can explain what you want to do, and if you can justify to yourself the approach that you want to take, that it is the right one, if you can do that comfortably, then outsource it to AI, because you already understand it, right? But if not, take a stab at it first. So here are examples of good AI use. How do I implement JWT tokens in Node.js? This is a specific knowledge request. It says, how do I implement it? Look at the next one. Build me a complete AI authentication system. There are some of you that do this regularly. You've just outsourced all the thinking to AI. So we know the AI can do it, but are you protecting your reasoning? A better approach, you design the system yourself and ask the AI for implementation help. Here's something I personally like to do. I put a plan together of what I want to do. Oh, I'm going to add this feature. I'm going to add this helper. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I put a plan together. So I would have thought through exactly the steps of what I'm going to do. And I feed it to the AI to say, hey, here's steps of things I want to build for this feature. What do you think? Can you improve it? Can you audit it? And then when it's done, I can then say execute. And then it will go do it for me. What's important is keeping control of your development process. Okay? Understand the problem yourself, that's a goal. Design the solution approach, that's a goal. Use AI for syntax patterns and boilerplate stuff, things that are easy and simple and repeatable, or things that you already know. So if it's the first time you're going to do it, then try to do it yourself. But the next time you're going to do it, because you've already done it and you know it already, the AI can do it. So that even when the AI makes mistakes, guess what? You will be the person to correct it. Don't you remember this hallucination nightmare mail? When you tell it to do something, no, that's not what I want. You give it a chat again, no. And you know the funny thing is, it will take you 2 minutes to do that in yourself. Oh. But no, you're stubborn. You will spend like 2 hours telling the prompt to do it for you. Why? Yes. So fact check AI, because sometimes AI may, I won't say it doesn't lead you astray, but when I say fact check AI, I'm saying find a way to make sure that what it's telling you is the right thing, especially if it is not a subject area that you know. So you should fact check. Test everything yourself. Dikun, Joe, how do you say please in Hausa? Anybody? Okay, but please. Here's some habits to help you with building your cognitive fitness. Try to start each day with solving one problem for yourself without AI assistance. Okay? Again, like I said, I know PMs won't like what I'm saying, or project managers, but this is your brain we're talking about, not their own. They want to sit down and say, we've built this, we've shipped it. Your own is the person behind doing the engine, all the hard work, and then your intelligence is healthy indirectly, or the opposite, rather. Code review habits. Try to review code yourself because it helps with brain atrophy. Try to draft the workflow first yourself. Try to verify data yourself. Try to understand the questions that normally other people will be able to ask you. So if someone asks you, how did you do this thing? If you're able to answer, even though AI helped you, which means AI helped you only do the things that you already know how to do. It makes it easy. Yes? I know a lot of us understand what I'm saying. Try to end each day reflecting on what did I learn today. Not just what you built, but what did I learn today? See, there's a difference. Not what did I build, what did I learn? More importantly, this is the ultimate test. If all the AI tools disappear tomorrow, will you still be a great developer? It's the big question. Don't worry, I'm not asking you to raise your hands. Internally self-reflect to yourself. You know yourself. And to be fair, I know there are a lot of junior engineers in the room here who will be struggling with what I'm presenting. But this is how you will become senior, because most of us who are senior now did not have AI to help us. Right? AI was trained on the knowledge that most of us who are senior did. Yes? So how can you protect your own reasoning? Use AI as, there's one more statement. Use AI as a force multiplier and not a replacement. Don't replace your thinking. Try to protect your cognitive reasoning. Use AI as a knowledge base. And thank you.
So thank you, sir.
You must be a superstar that are clapping for you.
So thank you very much. So my question is, so to actually kind of maintain our cognitive mindset, what is the best approach? I know you've given us the best approach actually, some approach. But my question is, let's take for instance now, you've been working with AI for a long time now. So and we're on that pedestrian bit that you're also like always delivering your job. But now we're like, okay, I think I need to like come back to my own real senses. If you are kind of like, are you not going to slow down a bit? And those that I know you to always deliver, are they going to be doubting that definitely there's something that's really boosting this guy before? What's happening? So how do you balance those things together? They are trying to save your current role or your current workflow, and again, to also want to save your cognitive mindset. How do you stay in between? How do you balance the two of them without giving one for one?
I understand the question. So here is where I'd say, okay, I'll use myself as an example. The only time I farm AI thinking out in my day-to-day is when I know what is happening, like I know what I want to do. And that may not be a lot of people because I've amassed a lot of knowledge, right? So you're saying if you're still learning in your journey and there are new topics that you have to read and you have to learn, how do you manage the balance between knowing when to farm it out and when not to? Here's a simple hack you can do, but I'm not advising you do that. You can still farm the thinking out to AI, but still read and learn what it wrote for you. You're doing it in reverse. You get so you've sort of rather than experience it yourself and make the mistakes everybody has made, what you're doing is you tell the AI to tell you what it is, then you make sure you learn it. Don't just be able to explain it to someone else because the process of you trying to explain it means you must understand it. So that's one cheat that you can do. But that's not what I'm saying you should do, by the way. I'm telling you that PM is going to be there, whether you leave the company or not. The company is going to continue, but your brain is going to follow you everywhere. Abi, so what are you talking about? I'm just saying.
My name is Osinachi. I'm an AI engineer. So I kind of attended Google Cloud Roadshow, so I saw a version of this talk. So thank you for talking about it again. So I kind of disagree with something that you said. I'm sorry, but you said that AI has perfect memory, and I know a lot of people here will disagree with you as well that AI does not have perfect memory, especially when sometimes you like even within the same conversation you ask it things of like, oh, previous what did I ask you to do? Here it will tell you a completely different thing from what you asked it, and okay, everybody's agreeing. So, the other part of it was you mentioned something about like arranging your prompts and how you add context. So basically, context engineering. But I noticed that there was a pattern of like context engineering of like the prompt seems to look bigger. For instance, the bad one was a little bit smaller with less information. The better one was a little bit bigger. Then the final one had a lot of more context. So context engineering in a sense. So what would you say? How would you advise? Because like I said, they don't have perfect memory. Over time, you have very large code bases that you have to contribute to. How do you manage the prompts that you are feeding to these large language models? Because sometimes you hear things like 1 million context window, 200K context window, but most of the time, the memory decay happens much earlier than that, like way, way earlier than that. So how do you handle the kind of context you give to it to manage that memory and the imperfection of the memory?
Okay, I hear you. So I'll answer it this way. First of all, to your first statement, that AI is perfect memory, I wasn't talking within the context of you giving it context. I'm talking of already preset trained data to always return the same thing as long as it has been trained with it. But if you're giving it context and the context is evolving, of course, its memory may evolve because it's not trained with it. You're doing inference and you're training it right there and there. So, by the way, but to answer your question, you talked about big code bases, right? Here's what I do, because I have many code bases that are humongous. I tend to only get the AI, doesn't matter what tool I'm using, to only focus on the small, minute work that I need to do at that point in time. I've gotten consistently great results over time. I don't need it to have all the context in the world. No. If I say this part and this part and this part is what I want to do, I create a plan first. Remember when I talked about creating a plan? I create a plan. That plan has all the information regarding only the bits that I want to make changes to. And I refine that plan with the AI model itself. And then when it's time to execute, the AI model does not need anything else. It just uses that plan in sequential steps, and I get the results that I want to get. From humongous code bases, I have mono repos that have maybe 30 services in them. But anytime I need to make changes, plan. If you don't want to write the plan yourself, tell the AI to generate the plan for you. And the plan becomes the source for what it will implement. And you would not have as much hallucinations as if you're YOLOing it, free form. Just, okay, let's keep going. That's the advice I have. Huh?
All right.